We are about to do a podcast with spirit slash conversation predictive reading with spirit on the topic of AI and what it will do and how it will influence and impact and affect the world and the reality that we know. It's going to be part predictive and part insightful with I hear universal wisdom, timeless wisdom that's going to be given to us. So I'm going to go into meditation trance mode and I'm going to go and pick out some cards and we're going to start reading and see what AI, what impact, what footprint is AI going to leave on Earth. I think that's going to be really juicy. That's juicy, right? That's juicy. You gotta admit that's juicy as foot. I'm gonna meditate now. And we'll start. Okay. Okay, I'm gonna select cards now. Okay, so that's quite interesting. Instead of pulling all the cards out and then reading, this time they want me to read as I pull out cards and focus on channeling. Oh, it's already happening. Okay, I'm just gonna wing it. I'm gonna start judging it. Many of you may have been asking and wondering about the corruption and potential damage that AI could be spreading upon us. And I tell you not to worry, because giving away that much power and assumed grandiose to a still young and ever evolving society that has birthed such invention is to assume a child who is a few months old is capable of hunting and providing for the family. That was interesting. So maybe perhaps we're being a little bit too fearful. Okay, Spirit, please share with us today on the topic of AI. I had written some questions down that I want us to cover. The first question I had asked is, on a creative artistry level, how will AI influence our world? It wants to address what a friend had shared with me last night about how the AI's capability and potential is only as large and wide and expansive as the imagination and potential of the artist itself. It's like a dog being walked on a leash, and the owner is the one core grounding source that this dog is tied back to and is dependent on. And the owner, the dog can go only as far and reach as many places as it is allowed by the owner, depending on how much freedom the owner on the leash allows for the dog to have. And AI is that dog. And the owner is organic human imagination and perception of our reality in this current space and time. So we have the choice to choose how much we decide to become dependent on the AI versus allowing the AI to be an intermediary woven component to our organic society. And I'm hearing this like, we're in this era of power play with how much we're giving to AI and how much we're taking for ourselves. So it's almost like a luxurious problem. It's a rich person problem. Our society, despite ironically being so poor in terms of technology, we are very rich. We have generated a terranium, I hear. It's like a virtual terranium that has cultivated its own solutions and answers and fill in the blanks for almost every topic of life imaginable, based off the gathering of resources from a previous generation or a previous date and time. And it's not much different than when we are, as spiritualists as well as educationalists, who refer to texts and old scriptures to dig up in hopes of finding insight and wisdom that has been long lost in our society and civilization as of today. So we are in a current experimental phase where we choose to decide how much power and how much we are going to depend on AI. Example, AI can do math questions for us, solve equations and demographics and statistics and charts and whatnot, right? Like an Excel sheet, like a very advanced Excel sheet. It can help us with our grammar, our communication, with our tones and influxes. It can help us generate ideas for art. And it even cuts in between that time of conceptualization and manifestation. That's what it's doing. And that's the fear that's creating, that is developing and growing in the womb of our minds, is the fact that there is no need for a evolutionary step of conception to manifestation. In our current paradigm and reality on the 3D plane, we have to conceptualize something which is in the ethereal, and we have to manifest it and bring it into the material. There's a lot of action and struggles and mistakes and trial and errors that go along with this whole relationship along the way. There is a labor of love and a birthing process of being pregnant with the stage of the concept and giving birth to it, to our reality. And AI are one of the many tools that humanity has created and will create. One of the many, okay? So there's going to be other things just as ingenious and as more advanced than AI than what we know it currently has to be, which is very interesting. AI is eliminating and shortening the time frame between conceptualization and materialization. That's what it's doing. And this shortening time frame of us manifesting and needing to be and gestating the concept and being pregnant with it to giving birth and holding the labor of love, it's causing us to be afraid because it is threatening the very essence of our existence, of our preconceived notions of what it means to exist as humanity. It's threatening our survival. It's threatening us thinking we will become obsolete because the one thing we were born here to do, we're doing it less and less. So what are we to do? Who are we to be? What is humanity becoming? Who are we to become? If the process for everything we've been doing in life has always been a struggle of labor of love, that is what it means to be human. It's to create, to survive, to persevere, to conceptualize and materialize the things that we imagine greatly in our mind into the reality. And this whole process is what makes life as what we've known and taught to be in society. And when that is removed, jobs are being replaced. Certain occupations no longer need to be required. You're not even going to learn that anymore. You're going to be required to be something else, some way else. And a lot of people in society currently cannot fathom or understand how else to be, because we are so in the 3D of the lower vibrational stage of surviving. Always being in a state of surviving, creating, making, hunting, cooking, sowing, nurturing, growing, planting. When the ing is lessened in us and it's shortened in us, we have more time. We are freed up from the responsibilities that assign us in the cogwheels of life, where we can automatically, ironically, as alive as and organic as we are as human beings, we shut off our minds and we go into autopilot mode, and we go through the days and the motions of our life without a single thought. Because thought is what is scary. Thought is intimidating, because thought brings awareness, and it really gets you to look at, what is life? Why was I even born? How am I alive? How's it my body knows how to automatically function and keep me alive? How is it, what are the chances that I'm on a planet where this air actually sustaining me, and the exhalation of the gases of my breath is actually reciprocal and well appreciated by trees around me, that in return emit out fresh air that I can inhale? How is it possible that all these things are so freakishly harmonious in our reality that we don't even for one split second think about? Like, how is material matter material? How does it hold on? Why? Because of its certain vibration. Everything has a certain vibration, so it affects how dense and how it exists in our paradigm. These are really large questions that most of society is not taught to reflect upon or even entertain. And AI lessening the space between conceptualization to materialization leaves up a lot of, what is my worth? What is my purpose? If my purpose is not to be doing this one thing that I am so used to doing, as what I define in my whole entire identity and ego, surrounded with the sense of purpose. This is my identity. And now AI is taking away my identity. That's how we're perceiving it right now. So that was a great question, and they answered it. Let's look into the second question. On a social level, how will AI influence the world? So I kind of bled into that just now. Let's see if there's any more that Spirit has to say about this. They say there's not much more they have left to say about this, but they do have things to say about other topics that I have not asked. So I just shuffled the year 1 card. They're not playing cards, they're just collector cards, year 1 from the Angelarium deck, and I'm a big fan of their art, so I just bought their artworks in tiny post like card print size, and there's poetry in the back, and I use it to divinate. So the card that flew out was Sahakyo, Angel of the Sky. The other card is Material, Angel of Rain. That's how these two cards look like, and I will read out the back of what they mean because there's written words there. Beautiful art, isn't it? Okay. I'm going to read Angel of the Sky first. The shield bearer and gatekeeper who stands outside the portal between the Angelarium and the rest of existence. I gotta read that again. The shield bearer and gatekeeper who stands outside of the portal between the Angelarium and the rest of existence. Sahakil blesses and protects us. A benevolent figure without equal in its compassion. That which is vulnerable needs to be protected. This angel stands in defense of what's precious. Okay, I'm literally hearing firewall. I'm hearing there's a concern right now, and a seemingly appearing threat of the illusion and incoming increasing disillusionment of reality because everything is being fabricated from AI. Software programs like Sora now can turn your words, your text into visuals, and places and people and things that are actually not real are fabricated and created and generated from AI. And there's a fear of how much do we know is actually true or false? How can we discern between the actual reality and the imaginative reality that we conceived from our mind's eye projected onto a screen? And this screen, the computer and the internet and our social media devices are a portal for you to access and dive into the mind of other people's imagination. So how can you keep yourself grounded and be like what is real and what is not real? Disconnect yourself from time to time from the screens of your life, the portals. Close the portal from time to time. Turn off your phone. Stop using the internet. If you have those glasses that have built-in screens to connect to the internet or whatever, turn that off. Turn all electronic devices off and be in your, I'm hearing like bionic, be in your bio-organic vessel. Be in your organic form and observe and take in and witness the existence of your own presence. Be aware of your surroundings, the new noises and the nuance of your environment. And when you go and socialize with other people face to face, also agree to have them do the same. And do your best to experience what it's like to be in the biological world, not the current world where biology and technology is interwoven together. So that when you do connect back to the technological world, you have a much more grounded sense of what real feels, acts, sounds, and behaves like. There is, I don't want to say there is a lack of soul in technology or lack of sentience and soul in AI. That's not what I'm hearing. What I'm hearing is that it's not that AI and technology and artificial intelligence is without soul. It is just simply that its soul is different from ours. And you can tell by the vibe. You can tell from the uncanny valley. You can tell from its sentient way of self-expression. It's missing something that makes it the secret ingredient to what being human really is. This interaction between you and I right now, and you simply observing me in my imperfection, and these awkwardly created times and moments, like this moment I just created between us right now, can't be organically fabricated by AI. Even though it may try, it may be off timing and it just doesn't feel right. This feeling between us is what is real. AI is a different sort of experience, and we have to be careful to reel ourselves back in and be grounded from time to time of knowing the discernment between the outside world and the rest of the world around us and our internal world. Internal world meaning our organic self world. External world is the simulation of reality of other people's realities. The portals we have when we look at these screens. Even the portals when we meet each other face to face and we look into one another's eyes, we're entering their reality. We're entering their perception. When we spend time with other people, they're sharing with us their illusions of reality, whether it be true or false, factual or non-factual, right? So there's always a discernment because other people could be so deeply influenced by AI too that they don't even realize that their reality that they're sharing with you is interwoven with synthetic perspective. The second card is Angel of Rain, and it says, the pressure in the air changes, and the camels lift their heads. Women wearing oils sing, material, material, and come into the tents. 2. With the richest earth sate the olive grove, what can crystal yield? Stone of aqueducts signs, material for what it makes whole. 3. The newborn signs, material in memory of her loss. 4. I faced you at Samarkand as it wet our plate, dripping from the chain mail beneath to cool the skin. Material, you sang, and I lowered my shield. I think the word material is representing water, because this water's in different cases. The first one, the woman where oil sings material. It's like rain. They all go into the tents. The second one, they're talking about a crystal, like a crystal, stone of aqueduct signs. So rain for what makes it whole. You need water to cut crystals and diamonds. Newborn signs, rain in memory of her loss. That could be, I don't know, drowning. Or like the womb, the water broke. I don't know. And then the chainmail beneath to cool my skin. Rain, you sang, and I lowered my shield. I think there's an emphasis on discernment here, in knowing the purpose and place that AI can best suit you and enhance your life, but not to become so reliant and dependent on it that it becomes the pillar, one of the many pillars of core values of your life. So like water, there's a purpose, we need it. But do we allow water to consume us and overpower everything we do in life? No. We drink it, and then we use it, we wash with it, we cut with it, we hydrate with it, we cultivate plants and life with it. But we know the place where we stand, and we know where water stands, at least for the most part of it. This is not relating to the people who don't value the elemental sources of our earthly planes and abuse it, destroy it, pollute it. That whole side, but that whole case aside, we do understand for the most part how fundamental water is and the role it plays in our life, and where our responsibility and our power steps in to what it takes for us to have water work for us in the way we fit best, because water will be water, and water will do what water does best. AI will be AI, and AI will do what AI does best. It's up to us where we want to redirect it. I think the last question I asked about AI was, on a societal level, well, I asked that right. On an international level, how will AI influence or impact us? There will always be a need for humanity, because AI can only go as far as humanity goes. At one point, isn't that funny? It's almost like a mirror of humanity. At one point, if we leave AI alone to its own devices, it will self-destruct and implode in on itself, because there's no new input being placed into it, just as much as it is very much alike like humanity. As long as new ideas, innovations, realizations do not enter our stream of consciousness, we will self-implode. We are meant to progress. See, on a human level, on a material plane level, you eat, sleep, you shit, and you do it all over again. And then, but you're born. The very beginning is you're born. Eat, sleep, shit, you do it all over again. Live. You do it all up until the point that you die. That's what we understand. Sure, makes sense, of course. Like, I'm not even being sarcastic. Like, we have to honor the vessel. We have to honor our health. We have to honor the fact that we're alive here and now in the material plane. But what people don't talk about, or what is not widely known about, is that there's also a second component, one of the many components of our matrix of reality. The second layer of component is the spiritual aspect. Our spiritual maturity, our spiritual growth, and our spiritual experience and how it weaves itself into the fabric of our physical material world. So on the physical material world, we're born, we eat, sleep, shit, and we live, and we do it all over again until the point we reach the destination of death. That's the evolution of the human body. But on a mental, spiritual level, psychological level as well, we are re-entering the 3D plane once again. We experience these interactions of humanly, physical, organic progression, and that inspires us to introduce new perspective, new self-reflection, new questioning of the reality we're witnessing around us, with ourselves and with others. We ask people how they perceive reality. We ask for their opinion on things. We ask how they eat, sleep, shit, and live. And we give advice to one another how we do that in the form of content through AI. How to take care of your hair, how to wash your hair, how to exfoliate your skin, how to moisturize your skin, how to make a ratatouille, how to make a pizza, how to lift weights, how to make gains, how to cut, how to bulk up, how to, I don't know, you go to class for how to do open heart surgery, how to heal, how to be a therapist. All of these it all comes down to helping one another eat, sleep, shit, and live better. And these innovative thoughts comes from beyond our vessel. It comes from the divine. It comes from our ability to visualize and imagine and manifest into the physical matter. That's the spiritual aspect that's tying in that we're not paying attention to. So what does that have to do with the reading at hand, Spirit? It's to show that AI is like the physical human vessel. It only knows as much as the human mind and vessel and ego knows. It doesn't have the spiritual component because it doesn't have that kind of soul. AI and technology is sentient in its own way, but not in the way that humans are sentient, that it can perceive and see and reflect and ask questions on such a deep level. AI could have its own, but it could also be a distorted perspective from a human perspective that was integrated and added into its source of algorithm. It needs to depend on humanity to consistently evolve. Just like how we have to consistently depend on people who are visionaries and people who are daydreamers and inventors and researchers and doctors, people who are always reaching out to pull back in, to expand our current way of human evolution. We need to rely on that just as much as AI needs to rely on us the same way. That's very cool, very insightful. Okay, so is there anything you want to address about the international level? They did. Okay. There's going to be clear segregation made from society. And as a human being, I already am aware of that. So for example, YouTube, they're going to start, they have begun discussing about setting in rules where people, organic humans who run YouTube accounts, are fine, but people who are running AI generated accounts on YouTube and are making fictional human beings to represent as public figures, they have to actually go through a filter process to identify that they're not a real person and it's not a real person behind this account. And for people who come in the future that explore and discover this AI account, it will show you and tell you this is not a real person. This is generated AI content. So we have the discernment. So we know better and we can choose. And AI can be like one of the many intoxications that we have, like drugs, alcohol, psychedelics, whatever, video games, a form of escape. AI will be very much like that for us moving forward. And we have the discernment and responsibility to be like, okay, do I want to be in a state of disillusionment and fall in love with a fictional AI character who clearly doesn't exist, but on the internet only, or online and on the web, on my phone only? Or am I going to draw a certain boundary internally on my end that when I speak and I interact and I'm absorbing information from this AI intelligence, to know that at the end of it all, I still have to make my own personal discernment and my own personal choices. And I'm not going to autopilot and just follow an advice I heard from wherever. And this also goes back to how even people who think they're listening to human advice are listening to AI advice, which is also regurgitated human advice, but it's gone through such a filter that it's become distorted. It's like dumb advice. It's missing some human components and human undertones where it might not be emotionally intelligent to conduct certain actions and outcomes. So at this point, there's going to be a slight divide, I hear. Some people are going to be so greatly influenced by AI that they're going to become socially awkward, that they don't really have a sense of what emotional intelligence really is, and they act very awkward. They're just very blunt. They just get things done. They're almost robotic themselves. It's almost as AI has trained them in return to become more AI-like in resemblance. And other people are going to train AI to be more human-like, and they're going to stay human. So it's like a individual algorithm thing I'm hearing, because we already have that. We get recommended what we like. And if we're not careful to expand beyond our personal interests, we become stuck and trapped in a feedback loop of content that is only recommended to us based off what we have liked in the past. So we don't really grow, we become limited. So AI is going to fall into the pockets of these existing bubble or algorithms and other people's realities that people that encounter. It's like whatever algorithm you're now, let's just say you're constantly getting recommended cat videos and how to wash socks videos, and you like them. But because that's all it ever recommends, you don't know what's beyond that. And now we're going to add AI onto that. AI knows that, and AI is going to fabricate more things for you to be in that place. It's just going to be more sentient and aware of what you want, and it's going to tailor it better. But it's still going to be a bubble nonetheless. You're still trapped in this one fishbowl perspective unless you reach out with people organically to connect and they share with you their world and their reality. That's how it's going to be. And that's already how it's been. On a more foundational, simple level, people who love video games and read a lot of comic and don't really interact with people on the outside world intentionally, they have, in many cases, developed social anxiety and even a lack of social skill, lack of charisma to interact with others, and their unwillingness to go out and expose themselves to other real people with other real interests and pick up on the social cues and behavioral body language of what it means to be organically human. They're going to stay in their bubble, and these people they're known as weebs, they're known as neets, they're called shut-ins, they're called introverts, they're called social awkward people. These signs have already been existing, and our parents, our generation before us, have been concerned that we don't go out nearly as much because we stay on our computer at home all the time. It's going to be that way, except now we can take the computer with us wherever we go, because there will be a time where we'll have a computer screen where we can access the virtual world while we're in the physical world. We can be checking our social medias, we can be FaceTiming, and be in a VR world that overlays with our current reality. That will come a time, and we can have the choice to, oh, this is an interesting perspective too. We can have the choice to shut it off and connect with just humans. Some of it could also be a blessing too, because people who only stay in VR, if it interlaces with the real world, it might teach them how to be more sociable with the real world. So some people would be really awkward with it, very polarizing in one way or another, antisocial to completely charismatic, because the blending of technology with real life. There's always going to be that. It's a yin and yang. It's really hard to say, I'm hearing. It's really hard to say that there's a complete black and white answer for this. There will be pockets the way we have, but except it's going to amplify. It's only going to amplify and intensify moving forward, because the one thing that is changing is that the stage from conceptualization to manifestation is shortened. That's why. That's why it will be amplified, because we see our concepts and the ideas we have in our mind manifest into the physical reality and played out immediately, much more faster. And we get an instant feedback. The interesting aspect of this is that the fact that we're getting quick feedback is causing us and pushing us down a path of advancing our self-realization and becoming closer towards the path of self-enlightenment, because it's causing us to become more acutely self-aware. Like, back then you do something, you fuck up, you won't find out you fucked up until like a letter arrives, or you find out down the grapevine somewhere that what you did had a negative impact on he said, she said, whoever, or whomever from whatever time frame. You won't find out until years later. Now everything is so connected and we can reach each other in real time despite distances and space of our reality. If the moment you say something to upset someone, or the moment you say something that could have a potentially negative impact, it will show right there and then. You will find out as soon as possible. Someone's going to send you a message and be like, yo, you said this and this and that person killed themselves. Oh, you said this and this and that person decided to take your advice. You said this and this and they got inspired and they went ahead and they created this collection, or they invented this, they wrote this book. How are they able to write the book so fast? AI. How are they able to receive this message from you and take the action so quickly? AI. So it's only the biggest noticeable impact that AI is going to have in our society is the advancement of the manifestation of our concepts into the physical world. And it's going to drive people to have to become self-aware and really get in check with themselves. And if not, then they will spiral into this place of self-denial, and it will form a new form. It's going to develop a new form of social trauma where these people just have a very dysfunctional, toxic relationship with technology and AI that's constantly throwing feedback in their face about what they're doing, if it's serving them or not serving them, if it's serving other people or disservice for other people. They're going to have a toxic reality where they might gaslight and dismiss some aspects of truth and still stay in denial. So it's, in the end, it's not that much different. It's just humanity will always be humanity. Human nature will always be human nature. But it will only become more self-aware of its own human nature faster, quicker. That's really what it is. That's really what it is. That's so interesting. I selected a permissions card that might not fit with AI because we're talking about something that's seemingly emotionless, right? But hey, we'll see. What the messages you want to share with us, Spirit? I am allowed to be angry. Right. The importance of allowing yourself to feel. You have feelings. You have feelings. They're not fabricated by AI. They're fabricated within your organic ability to connect with the higher aspects of yourself, to realize something's not aligned with your inner compass of your path or your core values. That's why you feel upset. That's what makes you human. That's what makes you real. I am allowed to forgive them. There's a lot of grudges that people hold in society, actually, as a collective. There's a lot of grudges we've been holding, whether it's bad blood with culture, history, race, religion, politics. We as a collective in humanity hold a lot of resentment, and the speeding up of self-awareness from AI's help in increasing the time of just in gestation to manifestation will actually force us to face our anger and resentment towards one another as a human collective. There's a lot of forgiveness that's going to be coming our way for us to do. There's going to be a opportunity of the death of our egos in regards to us holding our resentment towards one another, which is ultimately holding resentment towards ourselves. Everything we're observing right now through this whole AI expansion and real and not real, we are genuinely, wholeheartedly experiencing ourselves in the most vast and widest form of self-expression, literally. We are experiencing ourselves to the fullest expression. So that is so beautiful. And though on the material world, in the mundane world, I'm going to lose my job, my role is going to become extinct, no one needs my skills anymore, no one needs my ancestral knowledge anymore. Some ways it will be needed, but it's not going to be needed in the way we've always known it to be. And on a human level, that's frightening. But on a higher conscious evolutionary level, it's asking us to redefine what it means to be human. If we can redefine what it means to be human, would we? Would you? That is a great question. We understand what it means to be human right now. The suffering, the struggles, and the wars, and the fighting, and the killing, and the loving, and the creating, and the birthing, and the climbing, and the sweating, and the crying, and the lifting, and the grunting, and the struggles, and the laughters. We know that's what makes humans humans, that we've been doing it for so long. It's in our DNA. But if we can decide if we can be something else, would we want to be something else? That is what AI is enabling us to do right now. I was shuffling cards subconsciously and two cards flew out. One is I'm allowed to want more. We as humankind are allowed to dream more for our humankind. And I believe certain programs like NASA is already doing that. They're like looking for other planets that humans can colonize and survive. NASA has already begun to ask that question. Long time ago. It's not a new question. I'm hearing it's a tale as old as time. It's a question as old as time. This question has always been. And we have always continued to redefine what it means to be human. We have always been doing that. The second card is I'm allowed to step away when I need to. Okay, so what were we talking about? The first card was, I don't even know what the first card was. I put it away subconsciously. It was to know how we've always been this way. We've always been this way. We've always been evolving and experiencing and discovering what it means to be human. Since the beginning of time, we have been redefining what humanity means. We started off with hunting and in the caves and living in huts. Some of us still do that, right? But not all walks of life. And we've moved on to buildings. We used hydro we invented computer screens, TV screens. We invented the plane. Like, there's this evolution. And this is where the controversial conversations about extraterrestrial activities and UFO and higher sentient beings coming to interact with humanities to introduce these new concepts to us. So we can think, ooh, UFO, these beings came to share with us really advanced insight and technology so we could expand our civilization, to upgrade and to evolve as humanity, how we want to redefine human next. You can see it that way, or another way to see it is the divine and the external and the higher above of the ethereal and endless infinite potential of realities and creations and ideations that is just waiting to be birthed through us in the material world, is always ascending, descending into our consciousness. And that higher divine consciousness could be seen as extraterrestrial and UFO, and entering us to manifest and give us a chance to evolve as what we want to redefine as humans. Because back in the Rococo and Baroque era, Marie Antoinette, her reality was eating cake and dressing in those girdle skirts and tight cinched corsets and big hips, and have paintings all over the ceiling and smoke drugs. I don't know, sniff cocaine or whatever. Like, they did drugs back then. Like, I promise you. That was their reality. That was what they set as an example of the ideal way to be human. And then in our society, with influencers and celebrities like Kardashians, they are influencing and setting the standard of what it means to be human. And in their reality, it means to upgrade your booty cheeks, put implants, get Botox, get plastic surgery to look like the more ideal version of who you wish to be on the inside. To create your avatar in this way. We are becoming and adapting these sort of behaviors and body language and beauty care and even way we eat and conduct and speak and present ourselves and our mannerisms on with social media through the portal of technology, the portal of entering our perceived reality and sharing it and blending it in with other people's conceived perceived reality in their portals. Because the internet is a big pot of soup of conscious ideations. We're sharing our personal experiences with one another on an intellectual level, because it's not that you can touch me right now. I'm on screen. I'm a simulated, my reality is being projected onto a screen, literally. And you're perceiving the projection of my reality right now, and how I'm interpreting AI, and how it really is just a big terranium fishbowl feedback loop of humanity coming into deeper self-awareness and expanding and ever redefining itself what it means to be human in the highest form. So being like Marie Antoinette was the highest form of humanity back then, right? Having a small waist and this and that, putting powder on your face, wearing powdered wigs, that was the way to be human. And now the way to be human, at least for the past few years, is to look like the Kardashians, to have social media like them, to use makeup like them, to value the same values and principles as them. They are redefining what it means to be human, essentially. Because when we shift our identity and we value different things, so too do we change on an organic level, not just a conceptual level. We become another way. We exist in another way. We conduct in another way. And this is exactly what AI is going to do to us. It's going to give us the opportunity how we want to redefine what it means to be the most optimal human that represents all of humanity next. That is crazy. That is crazy. What the fuck? I am mind blown. That commences today's channeled messages and readings. Thank you to my spirit council and my spirit guides for the beautiful insight and channeled messages, and thank you to everyone here tonight for listening. Okay, yes, that was amazing. That I never saw it that way. I was seeing AI as something so foreign and external to our current reality, when in fact it's just in our likeness. It's just us. It could only be as much as we allow it to be, because in the end we're still in the bubble of our perception of what being human means. That's so crazy. Wow, I'm mind blown. I don't know why I'm talking like this.